Good morning, everyone. So, welcome to today's pre-market analysis. I hope my audio is audible to everyone. So, let's start with our today's analysis about Nifty, Bank Nifty, and Sensex. And let's start off with Nifty. So these were the levels for yesterday. So yesterday, as per we discussed, we were expecting a gap up due to the Gift Nifty positive, Gift Nifty was positive, and our FIA holding was also kind of net bullish only. So, but we were expecting a gap up yesterday, slight gap up, but surprisingly, markets started below previous closing. So nearly to our this particular yellow line was our pivot line yesterday. So it nearly closed below our particular pivot line level yesterday. So we clearly yesterday said that any movement below the pivot line can lead up to our first S1, which was the 25,950 range, and followed by our 25,880 range. So our third level was at 25,800. So we have marked it here. So these were our levels for the yesterday. So any movement below the pivot line was considered as we were considered it as a bearish flip in the market. So yesterday we had a bearish flip due to our US China meeting wasn't pretty good enough, or it doesn't reassure our market traders. So that's what the major reason, and you can see that pharma sector also was kind of dragging every segment. So every Nifty it was dragging. The pharma sector was also pretty dragging the market. So let's start with today's level. We'll change it to 1 day time frame. So we are calculating all this particular level with respect to the pivot point, considering previous day's high, low, and close. So let's start with the pivot point PP. Pivot point B today it will be at 25,970. So pretty lower than yesterday's level. Clearly you can see that it was above 26,000 yesterday. So due to this nearly 1%, nearly 0.7% drop we witnessed yesterday, 176 points. So the pivot point also for the day have been dragged down to 25,970, which was even below our support one yesterday. So let's start with the support one. Support one is at 25,800. Our yesterday's third support was at 25,800, and S2 will be at 25,750. 25,750 will be the second support, and third support will be at 25,600, 630 level. 25,620. Let's mark it this as the third support. So this range can be come up to 25,700 to 750. This will be a zone actually, 750. So these are the three support levels for the day with respect to the pivot point. So we will have our R1. R1 is just 25. It is at 26,000 only. 26,000 will be our R1 for the day. And R2 will be at 25,100. 26,100. Sorry, 26,100 will be our R2. And R3 will be at 26,180. 200 level. So let's mark it at 25, 180, 180, 200 level be your R3. So these are the levels with respect to the pivot point for the day. So let's clear this out. So let's mark the first pivot line coordinates, which is at 25, 900, 920 level. So this is the pivot line. So drag it down from this particular level. So all these zones are going to be changing for the day's analysis. So this will be the pivot line. So we can consider pivot line with high volume required. So this is must high volume. So any movement considering the pivot line should be validated with respect to the volume in the market. So either it to the upside or either it to the downside, you should always consider the volume to validate that particular movement. So these are the levels for today. Let's sound this out quickly. So we'll start with the bullish zone. As always, we keep R2 and R3 as the bullish zones and we consider R1 as the riding. So to validate this particular bullish trend again, we have to ride it up to first 26,000. So R2 and R3. Let's keep 200 only here. This will be the bullish zone for the day. So any movement above this particular pivot line with a high volume can first initially lead up to our R1, which is at 26,000. 26,000 will be our R1. We can change the color to green. So this will be our R1. So any movement, so I'll just clear this off. So any movement above this particular pivot line with a high volume can lead it to the first target, and after sustaining this level above this level, then it will definitely lead to this particular level or between these levels. So any movement above this pivot line with a higher volume can validate our bullish trend again. So it can be moving further forward only that similar volume and momentum remains in the market above this 26,000 level. So we consider this as a psychological level as well. So we got multiple reversal from this particular level already. So any movement above this with a higher volume can validate that bullish trend again, and this is considered as a psychological level. Previously, like we considered 25,000 level. So let's mark this sideways or consolidation level of Nifty. What if Nifty stays consolidated? So let's mark this level. It will be always in between our S1 and R1. R1 is at 26,000 and RS1 is at 25,800 will be our S1. So this will be the consolidation level. So any movement above this particular level, we can this if it is a if we have a higher volume, a movement up to here will validate our bullish momentum for the day, particular day. So if it sustain above this particular level, it will lead to the R2 and R3. And this will be any movement below this will be triggering again the bearish trend in the market. So any movement below this particular pivot level also considered as the bearish momentum in the market. If the volume towards the downside sustains, then definitely it is gonna dragging Nifty today as well. So we will mark the bearish zone for the day. So bearish zone will be between S1 and S2, 25,800 to S2 is at 25,700. So 100 points, and any movement below that can lead to our S3 as well. So support 3, which is at 25,620. You consider 25,620 as the third support. So these are the zones and levels for Nifty for the day. So you should be aware of this, that any movement with respect to the volume we consider, we validate the direction of the trade. So yesterday also we witnessed that it was the market opened below the pivot level and it continued dropping up to our S2 yesterday. So you should always validate the direction with respect to the volume. So you can consider this particular level to validate the direction with volume. So let's quickly move on to Bank Nifty. What yesterday happened in Bank Nifty? So apart from Nifty and Sensex, Bank Nifty tend to remain above the first support level. So you can see that Bank Nifty banking sector were already in a bull run, like the profit booking might be happened yesterday. So anyway, apart from Sensex and Nifty, so Bank Nifty tend to remain above the support level 1 yesterday. Uh, bu- a strong bullish momentum might have let this didn't let this happen to drop below particular S1 level. So with respect to Bank Nifty, let's mark today's level quickly. So Bank Nifty's PP level, pivot line level is at 58,000 to 120 will be the pivot point of Bank Nifty. So yesterday it was at 550 level, and today's support one will be at 57,900 level. 57,900 will be the S1, and S2 will be at 57,800. It's a short range, because we can see that yesterday Bank Nifty moved nearly 350 points, rather than Sensex. If you compare, the movement was comparatively less. So it sustained above our support level 1 as well. So support 2 will be at 57,800. 57,800 will be the level. S1, S3 will be at 57,600, 580 level. Is exactly to be is at 57,580 level. It is 580 will be the support levels of Bank Nifty, and resistance will be at 58,200. 250 we can consider. 58,250 will be the R1, and R2 will be at 58,450. So 200 point range we have kept for the R1 and R2, and R3 will be at 58,550. Again we are coming back to yesterday's pivot point. So 58,550 will be considered as R3. So these are the levels for Bank Nifty support and resistance level with respect to pivot point. So let's sound this out. So our bullish zone will be between R2 and R3. So 58,450 we consider as R2, and R3 at 50 58,550 level. So it is exactly at the yesterday's pivot line. We have a pretty short range for the bullish zone. So only a movement above this particular level can validate our bullish momentum again in the market. So it will be between S1 and S2. S1 will be at 57,900, and R1 will be at 58,250 level. 58,250 will be the consolidation level, and the PP line is at 58. 120, 58 120 we considered as the pivot line. R1 is at 58 250 level. So these are the consolidation or sideways levels of Bank Nifty. So this one will be between S1 and 57,900 and 57,800. This also support range is also kind of less only 100 points range. So in Bank Nifty as well, even though it is running in a bullish momentum, and it sustained above our support levels yesterday, so you should consider this particular pivot line with respect to the volume as a confirmation of direction. So any movement above this particular PP level, pivot point level, with a higher volume can lead up to R1. So only after this you can validate the bullish momentum above this particular level with similar volume. So either if you are taking a particular trade over above this particular point, you can safely ride it up to R1. So consider this the volume confirmation again for holding it up to this particular point. Any particular trade you are taking in Bank Nifty today. So these are the three zones for Bank Nifty for the day with respect to our pivot point. So let's quickly move on to Sensex. So Sensex also yesterday had a similar movement with respect to Nifty 50. So these were the levels for yesterday. So let's quickly mark today's level. So today's pivot point level is at 84,550. So yesterday you can clearly see here it was at 85,200, 84,900. So almost 300 points we are down by the pivot point level. So S1 will be at 84,200. 84,200 will be our S1 and S2 will be at 83,950. 83,950 will be our S2 and S3 will be at 83,600. 83,600 will be our three support. These are the three support levels, and we quickly mark the R1 84,750 can be considered as the R1. 780 it is actually, let's mark it 780 only. 84 780 can be considered as R1 and R2 at 85 120 will be the R2 and R3 at 85 350. So these are the three levels of support and resistance for Sensex with respect to the pivot point for the day, considering yesterday's high, low and closing. So these three levels can be considered for today's momentum trading with respect to the volume. Consider volume as a validation mark. So R1 is at 85. Oh, that's a mistake. 84 780. This will be the R1 and pivot point it is at 84 550. So will be the pivot line, and with respect to the bullish, bearish and consolidation zone, R2 and R3 can be considered as the bullish zone. 85 120 will be the R2 and 85 350 are considered as today's bullish zone, and consolidation zone will be in between S1 and R1. S1 is at 84 200 and S R1 is at 84 780. 85 780 84 780. So this will be the consolidation, and bearish zone will be below support 1 and 2. 84 200 will be the S1 and 84 83 950 we are considered as the support too. So these are the levels, particular level with respect to our pivot line here. So similar to Nifty and Bank Nifty, any movement above this particular point, we can validate it as a bullish momentum in the market. And you should always consider this R1. So any reversal from this particular point can give a pullback up to pivot line, or any movement, if it is a bearish, will definitely it's gonna be coming below this particular level. You should consider the volume with respect to the movement happening anything above or below this particular pivot line for the particular day in Sensex, Bank Nifty and Nifty 50, etc. So these are the three particular zones for all three Nifty Sensex. And let's have quickly look at FIA data yesterday. So here you can see, similar to yesterday, FIA have withdrawn nearly 3,150 crore from the cash market, and similar trend followed by DI also. They bought back nearly 2,577 crores. So with respect to the FIA data of FNO segment, it is clearly net bearish for the day. So as per the FIS holding, so definitely it's gonna be a bearish day. So consider these particular levels we have marked for a confirmation with volume. So if we see Nifty, let's have a quick look at the RSI also, where RSI stands. So in 1 day time frame, it is at 64. Now it reversed from this particular 73 level. So consider this pivot level and validate your direction only with the this particular volume in the market. So let's have a quick look at NSE's indices. Pre-market open, we have advanced 22 and unchanged is 9. So Eicher Motor, Coal India yesterday also, Coal India was kind of pulling it up. So watch out for this particular pharma sector for having any decision on the pharma side on any particular stock on pharma sector. Pharma sector was kind of dragging Nifty or the whole market yesterday. So trade properly with caution. So consider this level with volume. So any movement, particular movement above this. So today clearly we can see the pre-market opening. Here is it below yesterday's closing. So we validate that bearish momentum in the market. So consider the first 15-minute for entering any particular trade. So any sudden movements can take out your SL. So proper volume should be there. So anyway it is opening below our pivot level. So consider be cautious with today's entries. So properly manage your risk. So wait for the first 5 to 15 minutes candle for a proper breakout entry or breakdown entry, and properly manage your risk for the day. So that's for today. We will wind up for the day. Wait for the Okay, thank you guys. We will wind up for the day.